I'll keep an eye on them.
We're ready?
Yeah.
Okay, you have your phone with all the things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off by doing like a little like update about some of the stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Rock Bottom live on Instagram at the Moxie. Also on YouTube later. I'm so excited for today's episode because we actually have some really good stuff to dive into in terms of like Skin Cancer Awareness Month and talking all things tanning, skin cancer related, and just like sunscreen, all the myths. We're gonna bust all the myths. But firstly, I wanted to do like a quick update with you guys because exactly a month ago, I had a very public mental breakdown. And you guys, if you watched the episode afterwards, then you got to kind of like...
It was so funny how you started it.
What?
You literally came... I watched it the other day and she literally came in and goes...
I'm not
and
okay.
It like set the tone. It literally set the tone.
So I'm doing a lot better. It's been a month, and one of the things that really went wrong that day was the engagement photos for that day. It was just a disaster, and I just got the photos back yesterday, exactly 1 month later, and the photos are incredible, and they're on my page, and you guys have been sharing your support and positive feedback, and that has been so amazing because it just goes to show that everything does work out, and it's okay to have a mental breakdown when things aren't going the way you had envisioned them in your head, but it's also okay to pivot and know that things are still going to work out. So I was very happy with the photos, and there's actually more still coming, but the ones that I shared yesterday were just some of the favorites from the first bulk of the photos that we got back. So super exciting. That was my update on my mental breakdown and doing a lot better today. However, also, I didn't think I talked about this yet, but I had not had my menstrual cycle in over 2 years. And
I feel like...
Yeah, I think that was a contributing factor because
Yeah.
I had my very public meltdown, and then literally 2 weeks later, I had the flow of my life. I literally thought I was hemorrhaging. I was like, this is it. We're done for. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding out. So I think that might have explained why I was also feeling overly emotional, and I'm excited to see how I feel this month. Like if I'm gonna have that again.
I can't go through that again, so we're gonna need to do some kind of tracking.
Everybody was on edge with me, and you know what? Because I'm one of those people. I'm the captain of this ship, and if I'm going down, y'all are all coming with me. So that's not a healthy way of thinking. If my therapist is watching, I swear I don't do that. Okay, so we have. Oh, and then I went to Burns for the first time last night. Shout out to that place. That place was next level experience. Absolutely incredible. It was phenomenal food, phenomenal atmosphere. The kitchen tour was so cool. The dessert room, I could live in the dessert room. I'm a sweet tooth girly. But I was almost like angry at how much I enjoyed it because now I know I'm going to want to go back. And this shit was expensive. And it's so funny. I've always, whenever Zach and I are at like a restaurant, like, and we get the bill and it's like a really high bill, I always like try to act like, of course. Like, of course, I'm just like, it's fine. It's just money. Zach is over there like,
oh my god. Yeah.
Which always cracks me up when he's like that. And then it was funny, the bill came last night and I like opened it and like took a peek and he looked me dead in the eye and he goes, is it more than $20? And I was like, Zachary!
He did not say that. Oh my god.
I was like,
oh my god.
I can't with him. But no, it was so good. So yes, 1 month later from my anxiety attack, and I'm feeling a lot better. I do think some of it was hormonally explained now that I know that I was getting my cycle that month for the first time after 2 years. But anyways, we are jumping into a really fun episode today. We are going to be talking about sunscreen, sun tanning, and just all around skin cancer myths and truths, because we posted a poll yesterday on our stories about like what you guys think about some of these myths, and it was alarming, I think, a little bit, some of the things that you guys believed. And so I think we need to talk about those things. And hey, no like shame if you genuinely thought some of these were the truths, but I think it's important that we kind of share the the real truth with you guys on some of these myths and everything like that. So you have a list.
I have a list.
Okay, let's pull it up. Let's talk it. So
there's
first
a lot
things
in
first.
Here. I hope we can get to all of them.
We'll get to a majority of them. So first things first, May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and there is so much myth and truth and miseducation surrounding skin cancer, using sunscreen, sun tanning, all of these things. So we kind of want to like break it down for you guys. So one of the first ones I want to talk about, this might have been the alarming one, you guys. I asked you guys whether or not you think you have to wear sunscreen on a cloudy day. And let me just point this out real quick. If I run a poll on my Instagram, this is for my clients out there. Just remember, I can see your name. I can see that you've clicked you're not wearing sunscreen on a sunny day. And here's
on a sunny day
or on a cloudy day. Here's my take on that. So obviously, if there is light outside, if you can visually use your eyeballs
and not see black
without night vision goggles, there is sun. The UV rays are out. And I think we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast also, with Katy Perry putting holes in the atmosphere with their 11 minutes to space.
I can't believe I didn't know about that.
Katy Perry, she still be pissing me off, guys. She be pissing me off.
You have a personal vendetta.
I have a personal problem with Katy Perry.
Oh my god.
Putting holes in the ozone for her 11 minutes in space.
She's pissed.
So it's important to understand that the ozone around our planet helps to protect how much radiation we receive from the sun, how much radiation is penetrating through and down on Earth. Because if we did not have an ozone, we would all be disintegrated. We wouldn't live here. Nothing would grow or survive. So it is important that we protect the ozone at all costs and the other aspects of our atmosphere so that we can have proper protection here on Earth. And it's also important to understand that that's why across the world there are different skin tones because of where you are on the Earth. So if you are closer to the equator or below the equator, slightly around the equator, you're most likely going to be born with a slightly darker skin tone, as that is evolution helping to protect your body from the harsher UV rays that can be experienced at the equator. So again, if Katy Perry would quit putting holes in the ozone, we could all live safely and happily. I'm holding her responsible for the fall of humanity.
Katy Perry, you're the reason we're all gonna die.
I'm suing her.
Do you remember, and I don't know, this totally could have been like a my generation thing, but do you remember that adaptation song of the little camel?
No.
It was always this video that they would play in like some kind of science class, and I always saw it when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, but it was literally this like little camel, and it's talking about adaptation.
Oh.
And it kind of ties into that though. Like,
wait, do you know the song still?
I do, but I'm not.
No, you have to. No, you have to.
I am not.
Okay, just say the words. What are the words?
Adaptation. It's literally adaptation. I'm telling you, it's like this whole song about adaptation.
I'm gonna find that video and I'm gonna find it for you guys later.
And we'll post it.
I'll stitch it in here. I don't know what you're talking about though, and I don't know what camels have.
But that's also
anything
kind
to
of
do
the.
with
It's like kind of the point though.
I mean, other than
of like where you're at and what you adapt to based off of your environment.
Okay, I get it now.
That's the point.
That's why there was a camel. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense.
That's why they do humps on their back, because they can water back and forth.
Yes, correct. Because they go for long periods of time without water. Welcome to science class. This is no longer a skincare podcast.
You don't need a biology teacher.
Us, that would be scary. Oh my god. Actually, wait, I have so much fun teaching science though. But okay, anyways, so
I think you would love
back
that,
to protection. So, of course, the Earth is round, and I feel like if I have to get into that, that's a whole other podcast, guys. But anyways, the Earth is round. And so we are in orbit around the sun. And so obviously during the day, there is daylight. On the occasion, which is quite frequent because we do live here in Florida, there are cloudy days. And those cloudy days don't mean that the sun is taking a break. The sun is still on the Earth. The rays are still coming through the clouds.
It may be blocking the light. It's
It
not
may be
blocking the rays.
slightly
is the
dimming
point.
the light. But it is important to still consider protection, whether it is, physical like sunscreen protection or wearing a hat or even wearing sunglasses. All of those elements are designed to protect you from overexposure to the UV rays. And again, I like to point out sunglasses is a method of protection, because we kind of talked about this in the last podcast, because I have a client who just found out that they have melanoma, and we were talking about how ocular melanoma is a thing, and sometimes people don't realize that. And ocular melanoma can occur from overexposure to the sun without wearing eye protection. So sunglasses, 1000% wear them. Go buy yourself a really nice pair if it helps you wear them, but just because there are clouds does not mean that the UV rays are not still in existence. And another thing I'd like to point out, for some reason people seem to think that if you're standing under a shaded pavilion that the UV can't touch you. That unfortunately is not how it works. It may not be direct exposure onto your skin, but like the UV is I don't even know how to describe it. It's like glitter in the air. It's everywhere. That's like the best way for me to describe it.
I love how you're like, how do I say this sciencey? Glitter.
Glitter. My point is, either get yourself a bunker and go 6 miles below the earth. I think that's literally to the earth core. I don't even think the Mariana Trench is 6 miles.
Oh my God.
As far down as you can go and hide there, and I'll let you know when it's safe to come out. I'm just kidding. And we're all gonna start a petition for Katy Perry. So bottom line.
Oh my God.
My point is, if it's cloudy outside, yes, protection against UV rays is still necessary. Whether again you're choosing clothing protection, sunscreen protection, sunglasses, a hat, whatever that may be. If you're gonna be outside for the majority of the day and it seems overcast, that does not mean that there is still not exposure. So super important to understand that. That's the first myth. What do we got on there next?
Which one do you want to do next?
I can't with some of these. You guys, some of these actually, okay, let's talk about...
I want to do that one.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that one.
And then you want to do that one next.
Yes. So the one we're talking about next is tanning salons being a safer option than tanning outside.
Really quick, if you don't know that by now...
That's a myth, first of all. Let's go.
Guys.
The moment of silence.
No.
Also, I just want to know how tanning salons are still in business. And don't get me wrong, guys. I was a victim. I tanned in my high school years, and I hate myself every day for it.
I did it one time. That was it.
No, I hate myself so much for it because I know I'm going to have some cancer later from that, I'm sure. I cooked my organs. This was also back before. You probably weren't even old enough to use a tanning salon at this point, but when I used to go to the tanning salon, this was before they had a 24-hour rule. And so, like, you could go...
And you could lay in there for, like, a really long time,
Yeah,
right?
and also you could go more than once in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then later on, they changed the law where you had to wait a full 24 hours before you could go back in the tanning bed. I was cooking in there, son. Oh, God. And let me say this also. I don't know which one of y'all's ancestors decided that tan skin was hot, because for a minute in the Victorian era, being pale was it. Okay? The paler you were, the more beautiful you were. And I don't know who decided when that turned. I don't know who laid out and got a good tan and said that this is the way to go.
It was Jersey Shore.
Snooki! Wait,
no, because I really feel like I really feel like for lighter skinned people, that's when it became really in to have this like really deep golden tan.
Let's bring back Victorian era. Let's all go as pale as possible. I'm dead. No, they had their own problems. But
oh my gosh.
It is true though. There was a time where paler skin was looked at as a sign of wealth, and having tan skin meant you worked outside and you were disgusting lower class. But now being tan means you can go on vacation. Being tan is a sign of wealth now, because it means you can go on vacation. You don't have to work. The paler you are, the more people are like, ooh, she probably works inside 9 to 5. That sucks. I don't like that. That's a bummer. But
also just be like, it's more about not getting cancer. It's not about it's more about that.
Yeah.
Like, no,
aesthetic wise, don't get me wrong. I'm one of those people. I enjoy getting sun. I enjoy getting color. I think at this point, my purpose is to better educate people on the danger of skin cancer from overexposure, because that will bring us to our next one, which is talking about like how we talk about the one where it's like a severe burn can increase your chance.
Yes. So just one like severe sunburn, like blisters, stuff like that, can increase your chances of melanoma by 50%.
And just so we're clear,
that's
you
a lot. That's really
literally
high.
can get a 3rd-degree burn from laying out in the sun.
Yeah.
I have seen it. I have seen people on vacation at the beach, and I'm like, those are blisters, and that's from being burnt. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. That's too much.
It's
and
literally
dangerous.
Apoptosis. It's frying your skin cells. Yep. Your skin. Oh, well, that leads into our next one. So just because you get a tan, it doesn't make you safe, or it's not honestly really any better than getting a sunburn, and it doesn't decrease your chances of getting skin cancer whatsoever.
Right.
When you're getting a tan, what word did you use earlier? Mutation. It's still a mutation of your cells.
Correct.
So at the end of the day,
you are increasing your risk.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not to say that we're not all at risk. And again, we're not the kind of estheticians that we're like, stay indoors, you can't go outside. We don't believe in that.
I got sunburnt last week.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really not one to talk.
Yeah. I think the purpose of this whole discussion is just to help better understand some of the myths that are still out there about tanning or sun exposure
and your chances of
yes, because every time you do get darker or you get a tan from being outside, it is a type of mutation in your cells, and that mutation is what increases your risk of cancer. It's important to understand also that your immune system plays a part to your cancer. I actually read a fact a while back. It was pretty sure it was from the Mayo Clinic, which is one of my favorite resources for medical documentation. They were talking about how in your lifetime, no matter what age you are already at, you most likely have already had multiple cancers in your body, but your immune system was able to fight them off. And it is not until you become older, when your immune system weakens over time from being constantly exposed to things, that the cancer cells can multiply faster than your immune system can break it down. So it's very interesting. So like you had mentioned when we were talking about that, it kind of translates into childhood cancer. Kids who are born before their immune system can fully, metabolize and help them, protect them against these things, and then cancer can form. And of course there's genetic mutations and all of that as well. But it is important to understand that every time you get a burn to the point of apoptosis, where your skin cells literally die, which is when they shed, when you're peeling from a sunscreen, those are dead skin cells that have completely been obliterated. I like to think of them on your skin.
Things.
Yeah, cancer for sure.
Cancer, hyperpigmentation, hypopigmentation. I have 2 hypopigmentation spots on my arm. There and there, and it was probably because of a sunburn that I got when I was younger.
Probably. And so we can identify real quick. Hyperpigmentation is an increase in pigment, so that's when you get dark spots from being out in the sun. Hypopigmentation is
gone.
The color is gone, so the melanocytes in that spot have been killed off, and there is at this moment nothing in the industry that can be done to bring your pigmentation back from the dead. So if you go out in the sun and the next day you notice you have like white spots on your skin, those are there. There's no color coming back to those spots. There is supposedly drugs on the market being worked to create
I did see
pigment.
that. There's one for vitiligo that's doing it, but I don't know. I feel like that's so different than because it's not necessarily caused by the sun.
Right. Vitiligo is completely different. It's a genetic mutation where you don't have the melanocytes. But it's important to understand that damage is being caused the more you're out in the sun. So again, this is mostly about skin cancer and understanding that you are increasing your risk every time you are overexposed. There is such thing as healthy exposure. To say that we don't need the sun, to say that we don't need the sun is ridiculous, and that's not what we're saying at all. There is definitely a healthy amount, and much like anything in life, there are, overconsumptions, and then there is a healthy amount of consumption of anything. That means, alcohol. That means the types of foods that you eat. Your sun exposure also can be overconsumed, and that's when you increase your risk at that point to skin cancer. So, okay, bring us to the next one.
Ooh.
I feel like we have so much to talk about and so many myths to bust.
I know, but
such
little
time.
Crazy. I feel like we hit so many of them.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good one. That I can.
Oh yes. Okay. Go ahead and read that one.
So, skin cancer can occur anywhere, even parts of the body that don't see the sun. In my opinion, this would mostly occur from genetics, or if you did get into a tanning bed nude. What do you think? There's some other reasons? Like
I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed.
She just had a mental breakdown out of nowhere. She's
I just want to bring my mom into this for a second, because my mom she used to be like, Olivia, that tanning bed's gonna kill you, and I'd be like, shut up, mom, I'm physical, like I know what I'm doing, and like I never say this, and I'm just gonna hope she's not watching this so that I don't have to hear about this later. But in honor of Mother's Day, like she was right, and I hate to say that.
I've never heard her say that once.
She was right, and I regret the tanning bed so bad because, again, censorship. I tanned nude in the tanning bed. That means everywhere on my body is at risk.
Did you ever see that one story on TikTok a couple years ago? That girl that got it.
Oh,
so
sucks.
She said she went into a tanning bed. Listen to this. 2 times. She looked in her area, and she had literal black dots that were all around like the size. I don't think it was like up in there, but it was like in the area. Mm-hmm. And she literally had skin cancer 2 times in the tanning bed. Ugh. Like, you literally just never know.
It's
like,
intense.
It's scary.
The tanning bed is so... I legit, genuinely... But you know what? I say that I don't know how tanning salons are still in business, but then I also don't know how cigarettes are still being sold. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It causes cancer. And everyone's risk is so different based on genetics, based on hereditary traits, your ethnicity. There are so many elements that can determine your... likability to getting some sort of cancer, but it's just so interesting to me how tanning salons are still around, and they are so dangerous. Not to mention, in terms of a cosmetic standpoint, guys, when you tan, you are drying out your skin. I don't know if you've ever heard this term, but when it comes to like leather goods, like purses and wallets, they call it tanning the leather, because it dries it out so that it can look like leather. And unless you want to look like a Louis Vuitton bifold wallet by the time you're 45, not a good thing, by the way. It is super important that you understand that, yes, overexposure can also lead to advanced premature signs of aging. And I get that a lot. I get that from people who are like, what can I do to help myself stay younger and youthful looking? It's so important to remember that overexposure to the sun can increase your chances to those premature signs of fine lines, wrinkles, age spots. And while there's a lot we can do to tackle that,
you're not only the medical stuff. It's not even just cancer. It's like, do you want to look older than your
There's
age?
A cosmetic standpoint to it as well. And I go to the beach and I see the leather people. They're out there and they look like a wallet walking down the beach, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like, I don't know. And hey, you know what? Again, if that's what you want to do, that's on you. Our goal here is just to bring some insight, some different perspective to the conversation. My goal here is not to try to change your mind or shame you for feeling a certain way. My goal is just to bring a different perspective from my industry to your conversation about sun exposure. So, very interesting. I do think that people should be better educated in terms of like how overexposure can increase your health risks. But it is also, from a cosmetic standpoint, increasing your chances of premature aging. And I, for one, am doing my best to reverse as much of that as possible. But also, you'll catch me at the beach. I was at the beach this weekend, but I bring my umbrella. I'm not big on laying out in the sun. When you guys see me with a tan, I'm big on sunless tanning. I love using self-tanners. I get airbrush tanned by Jen. I love all that. So for me, that is my... that's my way of getting color in today's time. So, okay, what else do we have on there? I know we have one more.
So, this one, I actually want to add to this. So, yes, sunscreen really should be 30 or higher in order to get protection. But what do you think about, like, SPF 100? Because I read a little bit about this last night, and I was like,
So kind of explain, because I know what you're getting into with this, and explain to the masses what we're talking about. The grades of that sunscreen.
Of sunscreen. So in my brain, I always thought, before I was an esthetician, that when you look at a sunscreen bottle and you see the SPF number, that's the percentage of how much it's protecting you. That's actually not true, though.
Correct.
So, like, if you're using SPF 100, it's not 100% protecting you.
Which I think that has always been very misleading in the world of branding and marketing. Yeah. I used to think that as well. I used to be like, oh, well, SPF 30 is only covering 30% of my body, which makes no sense. I was like, SPF 100 is 100% coverage. Yeah. Not how that works either. So
I really, actually, technically, SPF 30 protects up to 95%. And then as you go up 50, 70 to 100, even 100 only protects 98%. So even though you're using sunscreen, there is unfortunately
always still risk,
always still even a 2%. But it doesn't mean you need to use SPF 100. In my opinion, it's the same. 50 and 100 are the same.
Right. And so we can also, let me just butt in real quick and break this down. There are two major types of sun protection when we're talking about sunscreen. There is chemical formulations and there are physical formulations. What we mean by that is physical is going to be mineral-based sunscreen, and then there are chemical-based sunscreens, which are synthetic elements that are man-made in a lab that are designed to protect you against UV rays. What I have my opinion on that is, if I were to personally make a recommendation for clients, I prefer my clients to use physical mineral sunscreen because of the fact that it creates a physical barrier on the skin, so that when the UV ray is coming down, it is reflected off the mineral. With chemical sunscreen, the way the synthetic chemicals have been designed is they absorb into the skin. The only thing I don't like about that is we don't know at what degree. If this is the top layer of your skin and you've just put chemical sunscreen on and the molecules are absorbed into the skin, we don't know at what degree the UV lights are penetrating until they reach that reflection point and then bounce off.
And they might not even be bouncing off.
They might not.
They might just be absorbing.
Right. I will say this, though.
But preventing
anything is better than nothing. So if you're choosing to go, most people choose chemical sunscreens because of the fact that they can be sheer.
And they feel better.
Yes. Yeah. They're less greasy. They're lightweight. The formulas are made to feel softer so that they're more appealing. If that's the route you choose to go, that's great. When it comes to mineral sunscreens, it is a physical mineral from the earth known as either titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. There's a lot of controversy around those two elements as well. The state of California personally does not allow the sale of titanium dioxide mineral sunscreen in the state. There is also a lot of states that you might visit that can be pretty aggressive about the type of sunscreen you use due to the risk it poses for the coral reefs and the beaches there. Again, so much controversy. I think at the end of the day, whatever you choose, should your research lead you down one path or the other, anything is better than nothing, in my opinion. I personally prefer to use physical, and I personally strive to use zinc, and I personally use 5% or more zinc oxide in my formulations that I use for my sunscreen. And that is what I have found has been super beneficial to protecting the aging of my skin. And also, being somebody who's acne prone, zinc is great for acne. So that has just an added benefit for me when using sunscreen.
What's your favorite face sunscreen that we have?
Oh God, we've had so many over the years, and I would have to say right now I'm obsessed with Color Science. That's what I'm wearing today. I'm literally wearing Color Science. I have
to try that. I still haven't tried it yet.
Incredible. And then I would have to say after that, the Gleam and Glow that we carry by MD Solar. I love that. Me personally, guys, I like to look greasy. If I can look shiny, I want to look wet, dewy, moist. I want people to look at me and be like, she's either really sweaty or she's got glowing skin. That's me. I don't want you to know the difference. That's just me. That's how I like my skin. So I like the formulas that are really like glowy like that. But we have matte formulations as well. And the beautiful thing about sunscreen in today's world is like there really is an option.
There's one for everybody. Even I was just gonna say my favorite is the Skin Better Compact. And like that one has been a game changer for a lot of my clients because it almost feels like they're like reapplying makeup. Like it doesn't actually feel like it's sunscreen. Right. And I swear, I know this sounds dramatic, I really have some clients that have like sunscreen trauma.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
for sure. 100%.
They like hate it because they've tried it and it's made them break
Well,
out.
because
or,
if
like,
you grew up in the 90s, there was like
100% zinc, and that was it. You went to the store,
it was like a white cast,
and you
like,
would
right
watch your mom grab the bottle, and you were like,
like shaking,
because you knew that shit was gonna be thick, and it used to be like a paste. And you could scrub all day long in the shower if you wanted, but it was not coming
Nara
off.
Smith could never. She's like in her kitchen, like making.
She's making her own. Not
her.
Nara Smith. I'm dead. But no, there like genuinely is trauma associated to sunscreen use because of how it used to smell. It used to burn if it got in your eyeballs. It used to, like, you would accidentally taste it, and that taste wouldn't go away for hours, and it was awful.
That is the worst taste ever.
Yes. So I completely understand if you've got PTSD surrounding the use of sunscreen. Totally understand. But the beautiful thing is, in today's world,
so many now.
So many options.
So many
And I love also, even though I'm not the biggest Sephora person, don't get me wrong, I love makeup. It's just Sephora itself pisses me off. But Sephora has amazing selections now of sunscreens and sunscreen makeup. And even I love how the use of social media has become this platform for calling out brands for superficial marketing. Because I don't know if you guys remember, again, early 90s, early 2000s, you used to buy your makeup and they would promote it with sunscreen, and it was like literally SPF 2, which was covering like maybe.
But I remember the most common one was like 18.
Yeah,
I'm like, 18
It ain't doing
like,
much.
No.
It's not enough. So I do love now that there are brands that genuinely are able to formulate SPF 30 or higher, which is again 95% coverage or higher. I love that they've been able to integrate that into the same formulas that you love for your makeup, so that now when clients say I wear SPF in my makeup, I can believe that. Because earlier in my esthetician years, if a client was like, I wear SPF, it's in my makeup, I was like, oh god, that's not covering anything. But now there are formulas out there that are designed to integrate makeup and sunscreen together, and I love that we're in that era, because I'm loving that my clients, they're gonna age like amazing.
Oh, I know.
Beautiful. Everybody's.
I can't wait to see all of us in 20 years.
I agree. I'm excited. The nursing home's about to be popping off. That's all I gotta say. Because everybody's using great quality products, great everything. It makes me really excited to see what the future will hold for the aesthetic industry and the continuation and development of technology in the sunscreen world. So. That kind of like wraps up today a little bit. I think that was about all of our myths and everything, and I had a lot of fun talking about that with you guys. And if I see you out there not wearing sunscreen because it's raining, we could have a problem. Or my other favorite one is when people are like, well, it's cold out, so I don't need it. I don't know what that even has to do with anything. Because newsflash, the water of the ocean and the snow are reflectors and do create a more intense, they increase your chance of a more in-depth burn on your skin because of the way it acts like a mirror and reflects onto you more aggressively.
Yeah, especially snow.
I had a client once who got burnt real bad, and she was like, Liv, I don't understand. I was in the pool. And I was like, the water's clear. I was like, I just want to make sure it's not a barrier. It doesn't work like that. And if you're not swimming in clear water, I don't know what you're swimming in. But when she said that, I was like, oh, okay. We're going to talk about that. Needless to say, she wears it now when she's in the pool. So thank you guys for joining. As always, this will be on YouTube later. I'm super excited because the rest of this month we've got some really fun topics to discuss in regards to Skin Cancer Awareness Month. And also, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So just 2 for 2 out here, feeling better. And you know what? I don't know if I get my cycle this month, if I'll have another derailing moment.
We need to get you on that tracking app.
Yeah, I need to track it. I need to track a lot of things, to be honest, guys. But yeah, if I have another public meltdown, please know it's just because my cycle's coming. So thank you guys as
I'll
always.
Make everybody aware.
Yes, V will send out a public service announcement.
I'll send out a mass text to everybody at Body Lab. Everybody, hold on.
Stay clear. Okay.
Watch out.
As always, at the end of this episode, here is V's ASMR.
I feel like it literally grosses me out even when doing it.
Ew.
That's so gross.
Okay.
Oh, I'm hungry. Could eat a cow. Oh my god. What should I get for lunch today?